Welcome along to the next instalment of our video mini-series Landlord Inventory FAQs in collaboration with our friends and partners at InventoryBase. And Sian from InventoryBase is joining me throughout the series. And Sian, certainly for newcomer landlords, one of the biggest fears that they face when getting involved in buy-to-let, well, it's twofold actually. They're worried that the tenant will not pay the rent on time, or that the tenant will damage the property. And one of the things that I love about inventories is, correctly undertaken and documented, they can help mitigate landlord risk in respect of the tenant damaging the property, because obviously it gives a level of protection. A lot of landlords fear that, a lot of tenancies end in disputes, but that's not actually the case, is it? And I think that those tenancies that have, proper setup at the start with an inventory in place are far less likely to end in dispute.
Exactly that. I mean, by actually commissioning a third party, you're actually taking a lot of the issues actually out of the conversation right at the very beginning. So then the likelihood of it going to dispute is actually lessened to quite an extent. And certainly from a statistical point of view, if you want to put a number on it, less than 1% of tenancies will go to dispute. There's a lot of people in rental. So if you're looking at less than 1%, that's actually a very good figure in regards to dispute. But the problem is, it's no different when it comes to, if you insure your car and you insure your car for 5 years and you never ever claim on it, you never have an accident, etc. It's not the fact that you don't, it's the fact that the insurance is there in case you do. And that is where the inventory really does come into its own, because you never ever know. You never know how the tenancy is going to go. You never know whether the tenancy is going to be very well run, whether tenants will actually look after the property, there's not going to be any major damage. But also think about an inventory. It's not just about protecting the deposit, because kind of that's what it does in regards to the whole tenancy process. But say for argument's sake, you had a fire, you had a flood. It's a great document to be able to say, well, actually, when the tenant moved in and before this accident occurred, because it does happen, that this is the condition of the property. So then from a loss adjuster point of view, you've got a ready-made vehicle for managing that conversation when it comes to insurance. So it's got a lot of attributes. It can do a lot of things over and above the actual tenancy. It can showcase exactly where you need to do some maybe remedial work. It acts as an asset register. And certainly within the inventory-based system, there's all types of different types of templates that can be used. And the system works exactly the same in regards to evidence and information capture. So of course, if you're going to manage all of those issues out of the conversation, then you're going to have a happier tenant, a happier landlord, a happier adjudicator, albeit not as busy, but I'm sure that they'll be happy about that as well. So the idea at the end of the day is to give that deposit back to the tenant, because they've run the property really well. They've maintained it, they've looked after it. So if you give them the tools to be able to do that, and an inventory report and a checkout report is part and parcel of that tool kit that we all have, then it's going to make for a much better tenancy, for everybody, for every single party.
Indeed, and the whole point of this video mini-series is to really educate landlords about the value of the inventory, because Sian, we both agree that it does tend to be underrated by landlords, and I think tenancies that are set up properly from the beginning, as we've stated throughout this series, are far less likely to end in tears. So we really advocate the correct setup of the tenancy from day one.